Noritoshi has done the impossible. This Metapod cursed sorcerer has injured and berated Maki to the point of death once again and has impressed us with his Mach 3 speed despite being only in a second metamorphosis state?
NANI?
One can't help but wonder what will his butterfree evolution result in the upcoming chapters, but can it also serve as the power boost Maki and Noritoshi desperately need going forward into the Culling Game? My name is DJ Milez and Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 193 has the fandom torn on two sides. One side arguing why is Maki versus Naoya the rematch even happening with the outcome practically determined, resulting in zero tension as a result, and the other side of the fandom claiming, well, despite the rematch, this battle feud amongst Zenin versus Zenin Clan members will serve a purpose. What purpose exactly? Well, I don't know. Perhaps JJK is telling us despite Maki being a beast in terms of raw physical strength, not having cursed energy still is a disadvantage in this world for what's to come for Maki. But then we also have Noritoshi's involvement, which none of us thought he was dead at the conclusion of the previous chapter, yet what power boost or significance will he contribute here? The blood manipulating sorcerer has no doubt assisted Maki somewhat in this battle, but still is clearly outmatched by the likes of Maki and Metapod Naoya. With JJK flashing domain expansions at every other battle thus far in the Culling Game, will Noritoshi be the one stealing the spotlight from Maki as the MVP here? And if he does, will that dilute Maki's significance as we all awaited for her highly anticipated debut in the Culling Game? With Maki mentioning that the opponent they are facing is Naoya, Noritoshi is shocked to learn that Naoya is still retaining much of his own ego as a cursed spirit compared to that of Rika. Rika still obviously cared for Yuta, but it's very apparent as a vengeful cursed spirit, she's a little loose in the noggin. I'm sure this bit of key dialogue of information Noritoshi has learned will no doubt result in Naoya's downfall, but until then, Naoya's projection sorcery is still a difficult maneuver to counter. The square-shaped frames in this chapter, if you need a refresher course, is the power of projection sorcery. While this ability is active, anything touched by Naoya's palm must also obey his 24 frames per second rule. And if the rule is broken, whoever's caught in the technique will get frozen in an animation frame for 1 second. So all of the frames Naoya has lined up is him actually freezing the air, which is absolutely ludicrous to think about, as he can now create this invisible veils as miniature explosions on his opponents, or in this case against Maki and Noritoshi. Yet Maki determines that Naoya isn't fleeing from the battle and the explosions is rather Naoya speeding up, much like he did in their original battle. The crazy thing about projection sorcery is that this technique will increase in speed the more it's continually used in succession. Previously in his human state, that meant he reached speeds upwards to the speed of sound, with Maki commenting that they can counter knowing when he will strike. However, as we learn here in chapter 193, this metapod form of his is drawing in air through its suction ports and then using that thrusting pressure in addition to its cursed energy to compress and eject it for more increased force, resulting in as well him being really fast and Maki taking that direct blow. Seriously, if there's anything that's impressive, it's that Maki's durability survived a point-blank attack at Mach 3 speed, as personally this being the biggest shock I got out of this chapter, with Naoya being as deliciously cocky as ever towards her. So this is what we still know has to happen. 1. Naoya will evolve into his final butterfree metamorphosis state, meaning his speed will be even faster, or at least he'll acquire another ability on top of his projection sorcery. And 2. Maki has defeated Naoya once before, and we already know what she is capable of strength-wise. So how will the gap between Noritoshi relative to Maki's strength, or lack of, be the deciding factor on defeating an even more powerful Naoya? I have faith that JJK will no doubt show us how, but it better be something amazing, because Noritoshi, if we aren't counting Miwa, is probably no doubt in last place strength-wise compared to the likes of Yuji, Megumi, and especially Hakari and Yuta in the Culling Games. So I really am dumbfounded as to why JJK has placed Noritoshi in this battle in the first place, and whatever happens, I still hope Maki still walks away gaining some insight or new skill out of this, because this rematch against the two Zenin Clan members I think is a bit of a misstep, and Naoya could have been swapped out with potentially another ancient sorcerer like Kashimo. But speaking of other burning questions I need solved in the Culling Games, I did a video with the fake weeb discussing just that, so if you want to learn more, you're going to want to click on this video right here.